Hi guys, welcome back to the next episode. Today I'm going to be doing a live discussion on Fast X. So let's get into it. Um, now before um now before I do that, I'm going to get to subscribe and click the notification bell. Just like them. So yeah. Fast X. This is an action film directed by Louis Leterrier. It's a sequel to F9, the 10th main installment, and the 11th installment over on the Fast Furious franchise. Um, It stars Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, Tyrese Gibson, Ludacris, John Cena, Natalie Emmanuel, Jordana Brewster, Sun Kang, Scott Eastwood, Danielle Melchior, Alan Ritchson, Helen Mirren, Brie Larson, Rita Moreno, Jason Statham, Jason Momoa, and Charlie Theron. And yeah, this is the I was actually looking forward to this movie because I like F9, so I was looking forward to this one. I had to wait 2 years for this one. We finally get it. So let's get to the non-spoiler. Now, if you haven't seen this, this is a non-spoiler. Now, I did non-spoiler on my channel, so let's get to non-spoiler. Now, I thought the cast performance was good, particularly Jason Momoa. Um, I thought the cast was good. Um, I thought everyone was good. Vin Diesel was good. Michelle Rodriguez. Tyrese Gibson, Ludacris, John Cena, Song Kang, and they were given more to do, whereas the others were kind of like Jason Statham didn't have much to do. Rita Miranda wasn't in it, Jordana Brewster wasn't in it as much. Um, Scott Eastwood wasn't in it that much. I feel like the person that sells this movie is Jason Momoa. I think Jason Momoa just let him do what he wanted, and I liked him as a villain. Because before this movie, I was like, oh, Jason Momoa, I don't see him as a villain, and he was good as this. He was basically Heath Ledger's Joker. He was trying to be like that, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. Um, my problem with this movie, I just feel like the writing is just not as good. It's not good. I mean, the writing wasn't good for 8 either, and Fast 9. It wasn't that good in Hobbs and Shaw as well, but I mean, I'd rather watch this before 9 because I just did not like 9 that much. I did not like I did not like John Cena. John Cena was just not good as a villain. He was just not given good material, and yeah, so. And I never liked John Cena that much. At Peacemaker, I liked him because they gave him good material. But he's much better in this movie than he was in F9. Um, yeah, the action was good. The music was good. Music was by Brian Tyler. And then this was directed by Louis Leterrier, which he's done Unleashed, Transporter 2, um, The Incredible Hulk, um, Clash of the Titans, Now You See Me, Grimsby, The Takedown, Fast X, and he will be directing the sequel. Um, Now this movie was supposed to be directed by Justin Lin, who he still wrote the story for this, but other than Justin Lin, he did Up Tomorrow, he did Tokyo Drift, Fast and Furious, Fast 5, Fast 6, F9. He also did Star Trek Beyond. And he left because of very differences with Vin Diesel. And yeah, so I got Liv Satira, and thus the budget was 340 million, which is the most expensive movie in the franchise. I think maybe because I don't know why it was 300. I think it ballooned. I don't know. So anyway, let's get into the spoilers. So basically, so the movie starts. You can pretty much get a recap of Fast and Furious 5, the Fast 5. It basically shows you Dom and Brian stealing the if you watch Fast and Furious 5, you know what I'm talking about. The end where they go to Rome and then they steal the vault of money. They drive off with it, and then you pretty much have um Herman Reyes, Joaquin de Amedia. Yeah, he pretty much is in his Fast X. It's pretty much footage from Fast and Furious 5. He was a villain in Fast 5. He had a son called Dante, who was played by Jason Momoa, and it pretty much gives you a flashback to know what happened, and then it pretty much shows them Dom killing Herman, and then Dante Dom hits the car, and then Dante basically he falls off the bridge and he ends up in the water, and then you find out that he's alive. And then it comes to present day, which you see little B, Brian, little B. He's basically driving. He's driving the car with um and yeah, they pretty much do a drive lesson, and then yeah, they basically go around in circles, and then basically Dom tells him about driving and stuff, and then yeah, so Dom and Letty, they live in a house with little B, and then it's night. And when it's night, you see Cypher, who goes to Dom's house, and she pretty much like wounded, and then she basically informs him that Dante, the son of Herman, drug lord, the Herman, has turned her crew against her and is using them to target Dom in revenge for his father's death. And then so a little nobody comes, he takes Cypher into custody, but reveals to Dom and Letty that there is no agency mission in Rome, which the agency mission that was what Roman was doing. Roman, Tej, Han, and Ramsey, they were gonna go Roman do. We do see and I forgot to mention this before Cypher shows up. We see all the family at the house, and then you see Dom's mom, played by Reed Morano, and pretty much everyone is there, and yeah, it was a good moment. That's the only time we see Reed Morano. She does not show up after this movie, and then so the room was a setup, and then there's this car, and then basically Dom and Letty, they have to go all the way to Rome to try and stop the. And then basically there's this truck that Tej and Ramsey are in the truck, and then they find out that what they were I think they were looking for was it technology or something that was in there, and then they find out there's a big bomb in the truck that's gonna blow up, and then they try, and then Dom and Lay, they try a little nobody, they try their best to get the bomb out of, because they know the bomb's gonna blow up, they know, so they try their best to get the bomb out the truck, and then you have this chase scene, which I actually love. I think the chase scene is really good. This is much better than the one in 9 and even 8. And then the bomb comes out of the thing, and then it destroys a bus, and then you see Dante is at the top of like a building, and he's controlling the whole thing, and basically and then basically Dom, he tries and he gets to bomb in the river, and he does, and then the bomb just blows up, and then yeah, then Letty gets arrested because she gets caught by the police, and then basically all of Dom's crew are basically wanted by the police, and then you have Alan Ritchson, Alan Ritchson. He plays Ames. He's new leader of Mr. Nobody's agency. He's working for Dante, and then he's there, and then you see Tess, played by Brie Larson, and find out she's the daughter of Mr. Nobody. Um, um, so yeah, so Ames pretty much tells Tess about all the stuff they've done over the years, all the missions, everything they've done, and they said that they've wanted, and then Tess tries to come up with a solution to get them out. Then we see Queenie, played by Helen Mirren, who was in Helen Mirren was in 9. She was also in Hobbs and Shaw. Was she in the 8th one? I think she was in the 8th one. I don't remember. I know she wasn't in 7. She wasn't in. Yeah, she was in 8. She was in 9, and then she was in Fast X, and then she was also in Hobbs and Shaw as well. And yeah, so Queenie pretty much talks to Dom, and then about it, and then Dom has to come with a solution to try and get Letty. But then Queenie tells him that Letty's like further in the facility in a woman's prison, which is off like somewhere, and yeah, so so Dom's at a pub, and then Tess goes to the pub, and then basically Dom Paisley tells him that to get Letty out. Tess said she doesn't know how to, and then she said that there's a way to. And he basically gives him the necklace. You know, the necklace that's in all the franchises, the cross. He gives it to Tess, and then basically after that, then you have Mia, played by Jordana Brewster. She's looking after Brian, and then basically agency come up. then basically then there was a bounty that pretty much comes to try and take B, and then Jacob shows up, and he try and pretty much beats everyone up, her and Mia, and then Mia goes, and then Jacob goes with Brian in the car, and then Mia goes. And that's the last time we see Mia. We don't see her again, which I kind of wish Mia they gave her more to do. Like when you look at Fast 9, F9, they gave her way more to do, but this one they don't really give her that much to do. I kind of like Jordana Bruce. I like in this movie, but I wish they did more with her. And then basically after that, Tess visits Letty at the. And then basically they do this cover up where Tess basically stabs her with a pen so that they can send Letty to a treatment center. And then she meets Cypher, who escapes and releases Letty, who they basically attack, and there's this whole fight. You pretty much you see some of it in the trailer. And then Letty tries to escape, and then she finds out that she's in Antarctica. And then basically Roman, Tej, Ramsey, and Han, they have to try and find a way to meet Dom, and then basically find out that their bank accounts have been drained, and basically Roman had some cash that he had hidden, and so they can go get supplies and stuff like cars and stuff. However, and then they meet Bowie. Ramsey knows someone called Bowie, who they arrive to law enforcement for the bounty, leading the team to. And then Bowie pretty much reports them to law enforcement. So then basically then Han pretty much takes them to Deckard. Now, if you've seen Fast and Furious F9, you know what I'm talking about, the post-credit scene where Deckard Joy basically has someone in the punching bag and he's using the punching bag. And then he opens the door and he finds out Han. That's that exact same scene. And then he meets Dom. And Deckard's surprised to know that Dom's still alive. And then they basically, there's a whole fight between them. And then Roman, Tej, and Ramsey, they try to get the door up. They do. Then the man from the punching bag, he basically leaves, and So then Deckard goes and he finds like a lots of cars, and he pretty much there's all the guns. He pretty much takes, and then Ramsey pretty much on the computer. It says that there are targets. Anyone that was associated with them, the targeting, including Queenie, which is Deckard's mom. So then basically Deckard pretty much takes all the guns and he takes the car and then he leaves. And that's the last time we see Deckard. We don't see him again. And then basically, so basically Dom goes into this room. It's Dante's. Oh wait, I forgot. Daniel Much. Yeah, they go to Rome, and then there's this race they have to do, and then he meets I don't know who the guy's name was, and then we have Daniela Melchor, who was there's this Diogo, who was in Fast 5, and then we have Daniela Melchor, who her name's Isabel, and then basically Dante's there, and they do a race, and then he puts a bomb in Isabel and Diogo's one, and they just done which one to save. So he saves Isabel, and then Diogo dies. He gets blown up, and then he saves Isabel, and then they go. And I forgot to mention Pete Davidson. Then he plays a Bowie, and then So basically, Dom takes Isabel home, and then you find out that Isabel is actually the sister of Elena. I don't know Elena. She was in Fast and Furious 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then she had a son with Brian. No, not Brian. Is it? No, I think it was Brian. Yeah, and basically she gets. If you don't know, in Fast and Furious 8, she gets killed by Cypher in Fast and Furious 8, and no, actually, she's the son of Dom and Elena. So. And you find out there's his sister, and And yeah, so I didn't even know she was a sis. They never said that. So and yeah, so yeah, so after that, it's pretty much just and then basically so Isabel. No, and then basically Isabel, she stays at the house because Dom tells her to stay. Then Dante's there and he tries to kidnap Isabel, which he does. And then basically after that, and then basically, Dom is in this room where he sees pretty much all pictures from all the previous movies and stuff with him and his friends, his family. And then basically Dante is on the phone. And he tells him why he's doing it, why he wants to get revenge for them killing his dad. And then basically he destroys all the pictures and stuff that were on the screen. And then Ames comes, Alan Richardson, she comes and arrests Dom. Um, and they do. Then there's this whole montage on the bridge, and then they get off the bridge. It's the same bridge from Fast and Furious 5. And then so yeah, he leaves the bridge, and then Tess is there, and then Isabel is there. You have Dante as Isabel. Um, pretty much captures Isabel, is about to kill her, and then basically Dom has pretty much kills everyone on the bridge, all his mercenaries that Dante has, and then Tess gets shot, and then Ames gets shot. Ames is fine, Tess is fine, but Tess goes to the hospital. Isabel takes her, yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Then then there's this chase, and then Jacob and B are in the plane. They're in the plane, and that's when you meet Meadow Walker, who's basically Paul Walker's the only child of Paul Walker. She came in as a flight attendant, and then basically as a flight attendant, and then basically they have this. No, that this boat thing was on top of the car the whole time, and Yazzie has it in the. And you basically find out that it's a small plane. So him and Brian, so Brian and Jacob, they take it, and then they jump through the whole. They go through and like a trap door that was on the plane, and then they fly it. And then after that is then there's pretty much a chase scene between Brian. Um, and then Jacob and Brian, they end up in the house, which the hide that has it's the same hideout from Fast and Furious 9. And then all the mercenaries are going to get them, and there's a big chase between Jacob, Dom, and Brian, and then and like that chase is good. And then basically you have Dante was able to, and then basically the car Jacob is driving. It has rockets at the end of it, and then they use the rockets, and then basically Brian goes on the thing, he fixes the thing. Then Dante grabs him and puts him in the car, and most of the chase you see in the trailer, like the when he falls from the thing that was in the trailer, and then the two helicopters, and then that was also in the trailer as well. And then also so Jacob sacrificed himself because his thing was leaking on his car, and then basically had the rocket. So basically he sacrificed himself, and then he destroyed the and then he destroyed the rest of the mercenaries, and then Jacob sacrificed himself. Which, um, I don't think he's dead because Letty died, she came back. Gazelle died, she came back, and also Han died, he came back. So it wouldn't surprise me if he comes back in the next one. But so yeah, basically that's it. And then Dom is able to get Brian back, and then they go, and then basically Han, Ramsey, Roman, and Tej, they're all in a plane trying to get Dom, and then basically they end up in and then they basically end up at this bridge, and then there's two cars, and then basically found Ames, Alan Richardson, he was working with. Then you see him meet, like in Fast and Furious 5, he shows up. Then he meets Dante, and then he pretty much works with Dante, and then you pretty much find that, yeah, and then Dante's there, and then basically the plane comes, and then Ames pretty much shoots the plane with a gun, with an like with explode. He shoots the plane, and then the plane pretty much the wing pretty much gets blown up, and then the plane. I don't know. It doesn't know. They leaves them there. I don't know what happens to Han, Ramsey, Rumnich. I assume they're alive. Like, I doubt they kill them off because they're too important to the franchise because they've been there since the fifth one, and Yeah, so basically Roman and Dom, basically Dom and Brian, they basically they jump off the bridge all the way to the bottom where there's an explosion, and then they drive all the way there. They end up in the water, and then basically they get out of the water, and then basically Dante puts, I think he puts a bomb where the bridge is, where the fountain is, the waterfall is, and then it pretty much just cuts there. I was like, oh, and yeah, and they left on the cliffhanger. I was like, oh, why did they leave on the cliffhanger? I want to see what happened. But then we have to find out in Fast and Furious 11, and then in 2025, and then we're getting another one. I don't know when I don't know when the third one. This one was really supposed to be a duology, but they made it. But then Universal liked it so much, they decided to make a trilogy. So the next one will be in 2025. I don't know when the third one will come out, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Then we have a post-credit scene. And wait, hold on a second. We got Letty and we got Cypher. We basically are Antarctica. They're trying to get home, and then basically you see a submarine, which is pretty much, it's kind of like the one from Fast and Furious 8. And then you have Gazelle shows up from the submarine, who was presumed dead. Because if you see Fast and Furious 6, she sacrificed herself same time. You find out that she's alive, and then Letty's surprised, and Cypher pretty much knew, and then they get into the submarine, and then it pretty much ends with the bomb, and then Dom um and Brian, and then there's a post credit scene. Now I've seen a post credit scene. You see Luke Hobbs, played by Dwayne Johnson. He was in Fast and Furious 5, 6, 7, 8. It was in Hobbs and Shaw, and yeah, he shows up in basically and his agents storm a former police station owned by Dante, and and then basically he sees this TV thing, and then he has a phone call from Dante saying that Hobbs is his next target off the Dom, and then basically you see a flashback, and he basically saying that Dom tipped over the car, and then he finds, and he tells him that Luke is the one that killed his father, so he's gonna get revenge on him after Dom, and then pretty much Dom, and then pretty Hobbs pretty much talks to him, shouts him on the phone, and he said that he's not scared and he's gonna look for people. And yeah, so it ends there, which I'm actually happy Dwayne Johnson came back, because I wish he was in Fast and Furious 9, because I feel like Fast and Furious 9 was really missing him, and I'm happy he's come back. So, but you can tell this was pretty much a last minute thing. Dwayne Johnson, I think Gal Gadot, I think you can tell those two are pretty much last minute things, because they teased Gal Gadot will come back, which I didn't think she'll come back in this one. I thought she'll come back in 11, but she came back in this one. I think that one was a last minute thing. Dwayne Johnson was definitely a last minute thing, because they announced it last week that he was coming back. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's Fast X. I enjoyed it. I have a problem with the writing. It's much better. I'd rather watch this in 8 and I like than 9. And yeah, I give it an 8 out of 10. I did a review on it, and yes, this was great. I love the music. Who did the music? Ryan Tyler. He did Iron Man 3. He did 7 of the Fast and Furious movies: Rambo, Eagle Eye, Now You See Me, Age of Ultron, the Super Mario Bros. Movie. And yeah, I enjoyed it. Give it an 8 out of 10. And that's pretty much it. That is Fast X. And I'm looking forward to the next one that comes out in 2 years, 11. So yeah, that's pretty much my review on Fast X. Give it an 8 out of 10. If you're a Fast and Furious fan, I recommend you check out this movie. So guys, so much for my video. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.